All right, good afternoon, cyber traders. Welcome on back here this Wednesday afternoon, May 10th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern here. It's been a phenomenal day thus far. Really good morning. Things turned a little slow, but still heading into this afternoon, I mean, we are picking up right where we had left off here. A trio of trades I'm in right now. We'll talk about those in just a moment. But great to see Leda, Jeff, Dan, and all of our students and members alike inside our live trading room. And if you're joining us back on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, the works, all of our social streams, welcome on back as well, folks. So with that in mind, hey, upstart to begin. We saw this just in the after hours yesterday. I got a bunch of lines mapped out on this personal chart here myself. I'm in this right now, right off that dark blue line at 1873, just once it popped back above it. So with that in mind, I'm hoping for this to run up higher into the close, perhaps making the ultimate move back up towards 20. Hey, level by level. So right now it needs to stick over 19 here for the time being. If not that, then definitely 1890. But really, like a lot of volume also from consolidation earlier today off the 19 level. So upstart UPSD, it's liquid. It's just well-known company, trades a lot of volume day to day coming off quarterly earnings. So with the fact that it's trending back up, I wanted to give it a shot. Thankfully, it's worked out this far, but hopefully more to go for you. I'm going to put this on our list just to begin. But hey, it's been a really good day altogether, though, folks. Market ended up making a pretty strong move just early on today on the way down. But again, we had a phenomenal list of stocks that ended up running up, UPST being one of them. We had another pop just a moment ago on the stock Note, N-O-T-E. We had AMD run back up again for us, Mara. So there's a bunch more that we'll get to. I have a couple more that I'm in that I'll share with you in just a moment. But let's go from top to bottom here. We'll catch up with them probably in just a moment actually here. So we'll start right from the top. HCDI. I don't really recall us trading this one too much here. Has a huge spread right now. Looks like the run on this or the pop on this is pretty much over at this point. I guess this was more of like a pop and drop move, low float type of move, got halted a couple times on the way up. I mean, if it was called out, then I just wasn't really looking at it personally. Maybe it was Rich or one of our other like students doing it perhaps here. But yeah, we'll move on from this trade for the time being. Now, CTIC, I recall this being on the gainer side. For anyone new joining our social streams here, like YouTube joining us today, hey, we always like to show this here. I'll take like a minute just to show this. Well, there's more to it than just this, actually. Let me try and do that. There we go. Looks very flat, right? Looks very, very flat off a big gap up. Normally, it looks like pretty flat to begin with. But, the stock is a buyout, CTIC. Anytime it's just gapping up and just very flat, not moving much at all in terms of price afterwards, that's typically a buyout. So I'm not going to check the news to even check or not, but we'll see what else we got here. We got a bunch of other cheapies here. UFAB, IMBI. Skip over those two. MVST, the run on this is over with for the time being, but we'll talk about this though for right now. I mean, ended up trending up pretty nicely after the open, popped and then trended up, ended up re-breaking above 2, led to a phenomenal entry at the time up towards 250. But from there, I mean, hey, I wouldn't have expected as sharp of a drop, perhaps maybe looking for higher lows and then for a move back up again, but it came crashing back down. So, you know what happens once this pulls right back down to the level it had broken out from. That's a red flag to begin with. That was $2. Well, look at it since. It broke under 2. It's 15 cents below there now. It looks like it's going to drop off more. Don't get stuck holding on, folks. BHIL, B-Hill. Let me zoom out here on the daily chart. It's kind of cool. I don't know, just poking fun right now. The artist in me is coming out right now. I'm going to show you this. That looks pretty interesting. I'm a modern day Van Gogh. What could I say? So this stock ended up making a nice little push, not exactly towards that trend line or to that trend line exactly just yet. For right now, it had pulled back also below a big volume level, seemingly here around 175. Also a bit of an order of 78. I'm going to pass on it for right now. Maybe tomorrow or, hey, this afternoon, if it proves me wrong, then I'm sure Rich will call it out. But what else we got? XMTR, it's at the highs. All right. And the stock took a huge hit over the last like 6 months to a year, practically 65 all the way down to sub 15. So, making a strong move up here today, but it's on kind of light volume, right? It's just trading over 1 million shares. Maybe if it was cheaper and if like the order book was more liquid, then I'd give it a look. But That's what we have comp here for. Comp is trying to make another push back up. I didn't trade this from earlier today. Fausto nailed this one from the morning session, ended up, calling out effectively the slingshot off at 350, pushed up close to 4, reversal time around 10:30 Eastern, then from there fell off. So, hey, I mean, it's not exactly at $4 just yet or 395 the high, but it's working its way back up. We like that. We focus on trend. We focus on liquidity. So, you know what? I'll give it a look. We'll put this on our main list here. Comp. All right, so Upstart we talked about already, off 19. It's shaking around there right now. I have my stop set to break even, if anything, so I should have mentioned that as it was pushing up at the time. But if this pulls back and stops me out, it would be a bit disappointing, but I really think that there could be a good chance to see this pop higher. I'm willing to bet that, and if not, then so be it. I mean, again, we always talk about this in class, but if you've made even a slight profit on the morning, let alone your day's pay, well, hey, if you jump in another trade and you're up on that trade and then you get stopped at break even, well, do you lose any of the money that you've already retained on the day so far? No. So as long as I play good defense now, that is like literally what I care most about just at this point. So I'm in a couple of other stocks here. We'll get to those in just a minute. STSS, not one that I traded from today, but looks like this one ended up having a wacky pop and drop. I guess trying to squeeze back up here again, but I'm not too convinced on this. GRWG. I guess I missed out on this one also. I think this is like a pot stock, and just one of them that ended up popping up today. TCRX. Well, you could tell I certainly was focused on TCRX this morning, at least in pre-market. I did not trade this at all after the open, though. My hands were full. So, you could only trade so much. I prepped up for this stock, but I did not trade it. Ended up ultimately actually pulling back towards the 61.8% fib and moved up. I mean, that's easy to see looking back in hindsight, but yeah, right now, not much to it now. Keep going. Note, not much to it now, because now at this point, the stock note is trending down perfectly off the highs. We talked about it before in the other one. What was the other one even? I think it was maybe the MVST, perhaps. I think it was the MVST, right? I guess we can back up to 91 here, but you don't want to get stuck hoping and holding here after it popped up and shook back down. So, getting back to that other one there, at least, it's not really looking too good, the note. All right, keep it going here, folks. I was trying to make sure I didn't lose track of my spot there. I was doing good. All right, we keep going here. EB, not much to it. EOS, the stock actually we day traded back like maybe like a month ago or a few weeks ago. Did pretty well on and off just on this trend up. It wasn't the biggest percent gainer, wasn't the fastest mover, and that's fine. It's actually a very tradable stock in that regard. It's trading a little less volume per minute compared to what it normally does, or what it normally has done for us in the past, like a month ago or so. So that means, like, I don't know if it's really going to pick up at any point this afternoon. I'll write it down for the side list. All right, so folks, market is pushing back up, back on up right now. If there is anything else looking pretty good here, type it in the chat board. And otherwise, actually, really quickly, before you do that, let me ask Jeff, Dan, Leda, and all of us, otherwise John, or perhaps Ravina that were joining us just before, Michael, if I was making a call out just earlier on a stock I was looking for a bounce on, what stock would that have been? I just wrote it earlier before this meeting started, about like 20 minutes ago, perhaps, but there was a stock I was looking for a bounce on just across the last like 30 minutes, 45 minutes. What was that stock? Before I move over to the losers list, I want to show another stock that I am currently in, just to give you a quick update. Mara, good old Mara here. Mara's up like 8%, so wouldn't have found it on the loser side, and it's not up enough to be on the gainer. So, hey, Mara's not like, making the greatest move right now. We talked about Upstart already, so that one I'm already in, John. Mara, too. I got one more I'll show in just a moment, but Mara's like kind of flat now. It ended up making a nice little pop off the 10 level. I was looking for the bounce earlier here, and I ended up taking a 4-cent loss. And then when it pushed back over 10, I waited a little bit, and then I jumped in like pretty much right around this point here. So it's pushed up pretty well. I'm not going to put it on the main watch list. Just wanted to give you an update on that, though, just for all of our traders inside the Cyber Group room. All right. Now the last one we will find on I think it's on the loser side here. So we will find it on the loser side. Let's see if there's anything looking just as good though, if not better. BBLN down actually 70%. What the heck happened to this today? I didn't notice this in pre-market. Wow. I mean, maybe it wasn't down 70% in pre-market, but it was down enough to maybe where you look for a dead cat bounce. It was hard to borrow anyway. Couldn't have grabbed the short, but I mean, maybe at some point later this afternoon, even I'm thinking. I mean, it's down so much. You're thinking maybe like, should this make higher lows off 211? You're saying there's a chance for a dead cat bounce, maybe a small little temporary squeeze. Be on the lookout tomorrow, maybe otherwise. You know what? We don't have too much on our main list so far. Why not? Not trading a whole lot of volume per minute. I'm not necessarily expecting it, but I'm just saying, what if it's down enough to where you look for a possible dead cat bounce, 70+%? We'll give it a look. Maybe if it could build back over this 211. If it builds back over and then falls back under, then red flag. So I'd move on from that. If should that be the case. Ooh, HCAT. I don't know. Looks like kind of thin tiers, thin order size out there. Dropped off pretty nicely, so that's what kind of caught my attention there. Easy to borrow on TradeStation, but I don't have a great need to put it on our main list. UWMC. I feel like we traded the stock in the past recently. Maybe it was this like kind of long upwick day. Maybe we traded this then, but for right now, down big. The stock actually a little bit more liquid, trending down to the lows here pretty nicely. You know what? Hey, that's why I wanted to skip over one so we could focus on if there's anything looking even better. And this does actually. I like this. We'll put this on our main list. That was the UWMC as a possible short. There was a short that we had yesterday afternoon. There were a couple of shorts that we had yesterday afternoon, if I'm not mistaken. I think we had PayPal and we had Dish. So actually, just really quickly, intermittently, let me just take a look at those right now, just to show you how they did. I mean, hey, if you're looking at a stock at the highs of the day, you want to look for a pop higher. If you are looking at a stock at the lows of the day, you want to look for a drop off lower. Look what happened on Dish yesterday afternoon. So, that's why we have to do our job here, folks, and just go down the losers list. We're in an up market right now, but there could be something kind of going against the grain there. Twilio. Nah, Twilio's moving on up right now. Volatile enough. I mean, but I just feel like for the liquidity, we could probably trade something a little bit safer right now at this point. If you did well on it from earlier, then I'm sure that you're going to follow up on it more. So the one, I guess it's not on the losers list or down enough, I reckon. Plug, I just have a stop set at 782. I just thought it was going to drop off better at this point, and if it were to, I was going to put it on our main list. But we called this out yesterday afternoon. It didn't make the drop off at the time. It made the perfect drop earlier today. It was a really nice short from that perfect 797 level. There was like a million share block print filled at the ask there. And even now at 780, that's a pretty big volume level just recently, 780, 781. So I don't know. It's on my side list. I'm in it right now. But if it moves up to like 82, it'll likely just take me out on a small loss. That's all. All right, so hey, for right now, we have 4 stocks on our main list. We got the Upstart trade, we got the Comp trade, we got the UWMC short, and BBLN. That could be a dead cat bounce, so don't rule that out just yet, actually. Last one that we said we were going to come back towards the EOSE. It doesn't hurt us at this point to slip this on the back end. There we go. We got 5. All right, folks. So, hey, for all of us on social media, let me know if there's anything else looking good here. Actually, really good timing from one of us on YouTube right now. Dave Party Experience joining us on YouTube right now. Appreciate you. Asking, what do you think about PayPal this afternoon? That was the other short from yesterday afternoon. So, actually, appreciate you reminding me of that. Let's take a look just from 24 hours ago. Dropped off pretty nicely right after 3 p.m. Eastern, broke below the lows in 66.50 there roughly, and made for a nice drop. I mean, perhaps you would have wanted to have seen more given the price. Well, you got more today. Dropped off pretty nicely this morning. Hey, Fausto talked about this in the audio broadcast in our trading room yesterday morning. He looked for a long as a swing trade, and he got out really fast. Well, it's because he realized it wasn't making that big bounce at the time, and hey, it broke lower, so he got out, took a small dinky loss, but, well, hey, once a stock breaks below a historical support, historical is the key word, unless if we're in a really strong market, or otherwise. Hell, I mean, this is coming off bad news of its own, so it could be a little while before this looks to make a bigger bounce. So that's why you're getting a stronger drawback again today. So yeah, I mean, for this afternoon, it's kind of just moving on up off 63. I would kind of pass on it for this afternoon, if anything, as a day trade. At this point now, I mean, hey, the more it drops, it's going to be more within my personal price range to follow day to day. It's a very liquid stock, just trades a lot of volume. So, it's tradable in that regard, but just given the price, you want to see it make like a big move. And it made that big move from this morning. So, I feel like at this point, you're pretty much just done with on that trade. All right. So, really quickly, just to wrap up, I think that I've been Zynga Pro up. I hope I do. Give me a quick second here. Yeah, there we go. Plop it on up here. There we go. So anything that I'm missing? Anything that I'm missing here? Not really, because if there was anything up like a lot recently, last 5 minutes, you'd see a big discrepancy. I don't really see too much out there. Maybe RCAT, and that's like a pop and drop stock. Like that's like a known pop and drop stock. We'll take a look at those, I guess, for right now, but I don't really think too much of them just yet. Oh, look at that pop and drop. What do you know? UCAR. Ooh, this one, well, it hasn't dropped yet. It doesn't mean that it won't. So, yeah, I mean, for right now, this stock actually still has some life left to it. Be on the lookout for 5 to be a big resistance on this trade. $5 as a whole number level. Looks like a new IPO. This thing took a huge move up on day 1. On day 2, took a huge move down. And then that was pretty much it. So, if maybe day traders are looking for a stock to pump up on a short squeeze, maybe, this could potentially be it, but you'd want the order book to fill in a little bit more here. The spread's very wide for a $4 or $5 stock. Just jumping back to the RCAT trade there, at least this is like more liquid. You know what I mean? It already dumped off, but maybe this could begin to build support. I'll add both of them just to kind of tag along there, but be careful on both. I feel like they're kind of low volume, low float type of stocks, and you can get burned on those pretty quick. So, all right, from Mike saying TGTX. Nah, too slow. I feel like just a little too slow for a $34 stock there. If you did well on it earlier, or if you're in it, I'm always rooting everyone on. All right, but for right now, I want to find something that's more cost efficient in terms of like a move that's worth the time. So I think that we're good for right now, though. Here, folks, we got 2. We got 4, we got 6, 7 different stocks to work with. And then aside from that, hey, start and stick with this list. And then Rich will be on the mic at 3 o'clock in about 10, 12, 13 minutes. And then at that point, if there's anything moving well, or maybe around 3:15 Eastern, if there's anything else moving well, then you try and follow that. I mean, hey, I didn't put Mara on the special list. So, if that doesn't really make a big move for me soon, I'm going to pull the plug, get out, and just focus on something better. That's it. All right, folks. So, hey, for all of us on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, the works, we have a bunch of new subscribers on our YouTube channel. We're posting more shorts lately, and we'll continue to across this week and next. So, hey, make sure that you are subscribed right to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/cybertradingyou. Any questions that you have, feel free to shoot me a quick email. I always like to post that at the end of these streams as I get a quick water break. Josh@cttrading.com. There we go. It's been light or pretty dim in my home office today. Again, I've got to fix my lighting. That's why I'm no webcam today. But nevertheless, though, folks, if you're interested in joining our live trading room, go right down to the link on the green banner below, just to the stream on the bottom to get yourself set up and started. But for Dan, Leda, John, Ravina, Michael, and all of us just there live, again, I'll chat with you folks coming up pretty shortly. Take care.